Hello everyone, this is the Beeve coming back to you with Stage 6 of the Maelstrom Arena. In my opinion, one of the hardest ones until you figure out the mechanics. The mechanics of this is a very mechanic-driven stage in the Maelstrom Arena, and it makes it really hard. And if you don't know the mechanics, you're going to die a lot, honestly, and it's hard to get it figured out. But after you do figure out the mechanics, it actually becomes one of the easiest ones, at least in my opinion. But you'll see these little obelisks here. I think they refer to them as. They're little pillars for the most part. Right now, it's uncovered. I'm just shooting at it to show you what I'm talking about. And coincidentally, it got covered with spider webs the second I shot at it. You'll see two in the back that got covered with spider webs as well. You have to use little horvers to uncover these with their spider webs. Either kill a horver next to it, or and it'll blow up next to it, or it'll leave a sack behind that you'll have to pick up like a synergy and throw at the pillar to undo it. And very important for the final boss, honestly. Actually, it's more important that during all this going on, there will be resonating swarms they're referred to. It's a bunch of spiders that come out. And the more of these you have uncovered, the more likely you are to survive, because it chooses one of those pillars at random and lights it up gold. And you have to run to that to keep the spiders from swarming you and killing you, which they will do real quick. On the final boss as well, it uncovering all of them at once when the final boss is out resets her back to her beginning setting, which she'll go from really easy to handle at the beginning to almost impossible to handle the longer time goes on. So you have to be able to clear all those to make sure that you are able to finish her. Now, right here, just gonna do our normal attacks. Nothing going on. Right here's I killed one of those horvers, so he wasn't close to the pylon there, so I went ahead and just picked it up and threw it on the pylon. Give you a good idea how that works. The creatures in this area are not that hard. You can see here I'm checking out another horver. I'm going to bring him back to me. The second you do damage to him, it brings him back. See how he blew up and then blew all those spider webs off that right there? Here comes that resonating swarm. As long as I'm by this pylon with the gold, they will go away. But if they don't go away, you're in trouble. They do a ton of damage real fast. They will kill you. They will wipe you instantly. Now, basically what I'm doing here, and this is hard to explain, it's hard to do, honestly, is I'm trying to keep an eye out for all these horvers coming out and trying to lead them to pylons that need uncovered. And then little spiders will spawn on those pylons as well and try to cover them back up. So you really need to make sure you're really need to make sure you're keeping an eye on all your pylons to make sure they're not getting covered back up. Now, what I like to do here is that very first round, I like to keep them all uncovered. But for the sake of this video, I showed you that I went ahead and killed that creature. It uncovered all of them. They all blew, and see how everything got stunned? This is very important because the same thing happens to the final boss. She gets stunned for like a good 10 seconds, and you can just really DPS the crap out of her. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But since after that, they go back to all being covered, except for the middle one again. So now I got to work myself back to making sure that I get all these uncovered. I'm going to try to get it down to just having one of them uncovered and keeping one of them still covered until the final boss. That way I only gotta kill one horver to reset her, and I can kind of dictate when it happens and not have to wait for them. I apologize. Apparently my capture card did not get this one as well as I hoped it would. It is getting a little bit of glitchiness here, but a little too far into this to kind of to give it up at this point and redo it. But as you can see, I'm just using my blockade. I'm using my lightning. I'm activating my pet, and I'm just making sure that I keep these obelisks covered. See, there's a spider in the middle right there. He's trying to cover up this middle one. I'm going to try to kill him. In the same process, this swarm came out. Now, I'm getting into the stages now where after the swarm, you can see that they are throwing lightning at us from above as well, which is just another wonderful thing that you have to deal with in this arena. But here's our little mini boss that we're just gonna DPS down, just doing our our normal blockade, our heavy attack, lightning when we can, and activating our pet. Here comes another swarm of spiders again, so I get behind the glowing oblique, and it kind of forces them away. Making sure I keep spiders off. I'm always running around and putting an orientation on my camera to make sure that I can see. I'm constantly doing like a 360. I'm using this kite right here as I'm doing damage here to make sure I see any of these spiders trying to do that, and any horvers coming, so I can see them coming. So if I need to use them to take the spider webs off, I can. But you want to try to clear off as many of them as you can and keep them clear, because when it gets to those resonating swarms, it just chooses one, sometimes two of those obliques to light up, and it doesn't necessarily guarantee it's going to be one that's uncovered. So you could have 3 of the 5 uncovered, and it could choose the 2 that aren't uncovered as your safe zones, and then you're screwed. So try to keep as many of them uncovered as possible, and you will see later on here, maybe even as well, sometimes you'll run to one that's lit up, and it'll go out, and then you'll have to run to the next one that's lit up. So you constantly got to be keeping an eye on these things and making sure that nothing's covering them. I can't stress that enough, and you'll see why here towards the end when we get to the final boss. But nothing different damage-wise than we have done in the past. Just making sure when those swarms come out that we're getting away from them, running into that gold circle, keeping our pylons from getting covered, and doing just our normal blockade, heavy attack, and activating our pet, and throwing our lightning down when we can as well. This is right here the next little mini bosses for this stage. Go ahead and get these cleared off and kill this last guy right here, last spider right there, and we've cleared that one now. And we're coming up on final round. Now here's the pain in the ass girl right here. So what I tend to do right here is I'll go in right now. All of her damage is very manageable, so I am going to just DPS her pretty quick and make sure that I'm keeping all my things uncovered. And then there's this bigger spider right here. That's the one that's shooting those lightning bolts. You want to clear that one off. After I clear those off, that's when I decide to go ahead and take this Horver over here. I'm going to kill him on this, and bam, she is stunned. I am dropping Destro and just doing full amount of rotation on her. And because I have good DPS, I get through this, and I finish this right now. I make it look really easy. You may not have this good a DPS, and it may take you a little bit longer, but maybe you just don't want to clear that last pylon so soon. Get her down a little bit more and then do it. But like I said, it does reset her damage, so as soon as you do it, it's resetting everything. So that is level 7 there, guys. We're going to come back with level 6. We're going to come back with level 7 here in a minute.